Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Saṅghaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Friends, let us all study, investigate and practice the real words of the Buddha. Real words of the Buddha. Sublime Dhamma, Sad-Dhamma is really rare. We are so fortunate to understand this wonderful Dhamma, the real words of the Buddha. Tonight, our Dhamma talk is the 49th Dhamma talk, explained in the very words of the Buddha. Tonight we have another sublime discourse of the Buddha from the original discourses. This is from the connected discourses of the Buddha, chapter 35, the discourse number 231. The name of the discourse is the milk sap tree. Our palatable topic is, if there is sap, what would happen? Let's understand. Let's come to the discourse. As the Buddha said, addressing the monks, bhikkhus. That is how the Buddha addressed the bhikkhus, monks. Bhikkhus, in regard to forms cognizable by the eye, if in any bhikkhu or bhikkhuni, not only bhikkhu and bhikkhunis, upasaka and upasika as well, lust still exists, if lust exists, still exists, and has not been abandoned, if hatred still exists, has not been abandoned, if delusion still exists, has not been abandoned, then even a trifling forms, trifle forms that enter into range of the eye, obsess the mind. It obsesses the mind. Not to speak of those that are prominent. Very little, the trifle form is enough to arise lust, hatred, delusion. Not only that, envy, jealousy, such thoughts. For what reason? The Buddha said, for what reason? Because lust still exists and has not been abandoned. Since there is lust, since there is hatred, since there is delusion, they come out, they pop up. Whether lust, hatred, or delusion. So, this is what we have to understand. So, when we practice, we are talking about not mere stories. This is the way to practice. We are talking about the practical aspect of the teachings of the Buddha. How to practice? How to practice meditation, not just to calm down ourselves, not just to concentrate. Concentration is not enough. Concentration meditation is not enough. We have to understand how to practice Vipassana. What is the purpose of Vipassana? The purpose is understand our own thoughts, how these thoughts arise, and how to recognize them, and how to abandon them, how to cut them off totally, so that we can come to the state of calmness, state of reality, real peace, how to experience real peace, real happiness. That is the purpose of understanding these different discourses of the Buddha, as the Buddha said. So, this is referring to our eyes. Let's understand further, as the Buddha said, regarding forms. Form, whatever form, we have to understand this is referring to our six senses. To our six senses, we experience forms, different forms. To the eyes, we recognize forms. Those are called forms of form. Forms of form. That is color. What we see is color and the shape to the eyes. Then to the ears, we recognize forms. What are those forms? They are the sounds, forms of sound. Then we smell, we experience, we recognize the forms of smell. When we taste, we recognize the forms of taste. Forms of smell, forms of taste, then the forms of tangible body, through body, then forms of mind, Dhamma, to the mind. So through our six sense bases, we can understand forms. These forms are what you call form aggregate. Then what we recognize as a form, that we feel. What we feel is called feeling aggregate. What we feel, that we perceive. What we perceive is called perception aggregate. What we perceive, that we evaluate, that we start to think of. That is what you call volitional formation aggregates. So all these are detected, observed by our mind, our consciousness. That is called vijnana. Vijnana. Through our consciousness, we understand, we know this. We know this process. We know what is going on in the eye, in the ear, in the nose, in the tongue, in the body, and in the mind. We know this through our vijnana, consciousness. So these five, what are the five? Form, feelings, perception, volitional formation, and consciousness. These five are called five aggregates. Five aggregates. So where are these five? Five aggregates? In the eyes, in the ears, in the nose, in the tongue, in the body, and in the mind. We should understand these five aggregates correctly, properly. Otherwise, we miss the Dhamma, we lose this Dhamma. As the Buddha said, when we see the objects, forms, recognized by the eye, if there is lust, as we have lust arises. As we have hatred arises. As we have delusion, it arises. Whenever form, as the Buddha said here, even the in a very tiny form, whatever comes to our mind, the range of our eyes, whatever comes, just like a shadow, even a shadow, whatever. Then, whenever it enters the range, it obsesses the mind. The Buddha said not to speak of those that are prominent, that are big things. Don't worry about, even you don't want to talk about big things, great things, even the trifling, enough to arise lust, hate, or delusion. That is the meaning. So not only the forms, then Buddha said the same in regard to sounds, cognizable by the ear, then smell, cognizable by the nose, taste, cognizable by the tongue, touch, cognizable by the body, and mental phenomena cognizable by the mind through the six sense bases. That is what is happening. Now, the Buddha gives us a simile. This is the milk sap tree. Let's understand the simile. Suppose, bhikkhus, there was a milk sap tree like a banyan tree, jack tree, or rubber tree, or a maple tree. Actually, the Buddha has given some names. Those are not familiar here, that is why I use these different names. The banyan tree it might be quite familiar, but there were some other trees suggested, but nobody knows them here. We can see those trees in Asia. So I guess you can understand. Perhaps you have never seen jack trees. I don't know whether you would have seen rubber, but it is familiar, maple trees here. So suppose a tree, maple tree, or whichever these trees, fresh, young tree, tender tree. If a man breaks it here and there with a sharp axe, suppose the man is going to cut this different places, say 6 different places. He is going to cut with a sharp axe or knife. Would sap come out? Then would sap come out? The Buddha asked. Then the monk said, yes, Venerable Sir. Buddha says, for what reason? Because there is sap. That is why. Since there is sap, they come out. It come out. It comes out. Whatever. Wherever it cuts, whoever cuts it, if there is sap in the tree, sap flows out. It comes out. The Buddha said, so too, because in regard to forms cognizable by the eye, even trifling forms that enter into range of the eye obsess the mind. It obsesses the mind. Not to speak of those that are prominent. For what reason? Because lust still exists. Lust still exists. Just like the sap of the tree. If you have lust, whenever such things happen, whenever something happens, it comes out. Not only lust, anger, hatred, delusion, stingy, hatred, craving, delusion, such thoughts, jealousy, all this. If we have such thoughts, such things, such defilements, if we have defilements, they come out. That is the meaning. On the other hand, so not only through the eyes, through the ears, nose, tongue, body, and the mind. Through these 6 sense bases, all the time, constantly, continuously, instantaneously, they come out. Whenever such things happen in our daily life, whenever something happens, if we have this means how have you got this? You have deposited this in your mind. Where? In the aggregates of volitional formations. You have deposited them. That is why they come out. Just like the sap of the tree, they come out. Whenever they come out, so meditator should understand this. Whenever they come out, meditator should understand and cut them off totally. Remove, cut them off, obliterate. That is the way. Otherwise they are remaining, and these are then called underlying tendencies. Anusaya, underlying, anusayati means sleeping. Underneath they are sleeping. Whenever something happens, they rise. They come out. As long as we are living here, they are there underlying. At the end of this life, what happens? They come out. They, with that thought, last moment, they come out. They are the causes that you have deposited. They are the remained causes. Whenever there are causes, you have to expect their effects, their results. What are the results? Result will be another life, another existence. What you have remained, what you have deposited are called upadana, attachment. Dependent on attachment, existence comes to be. That is the teachings of the Buddha. So the Buddha pointed out its opposite now. Let's see. Bhikkhus, in regard to forms cognizable by the eye, if in any bhikkhu or bhikkhuni, let's add upasaka and upasika also, whoever, the fourfold sangha, bhikkhu, bhikkhuni, upasaka and upasika, if in any lust does not exist, if lust does not exist, what would happen? And has not been abandoned. If lust has been abandoned, if there is no lust, if it has been abandoned, if hatred does not exist and has been abandoned, if delusion does not exist and has been abandoned, then even prominent forms that enter into range of the eye do not obsess the mind. Do not obsess the mind. They never obsess the mind. They can't, because no more. Not to speak of those that are trifling. For what reason? Because lust does not exist and has been abandoned. Hatred does not exist and has been abandoned. Delusion does not exist and has been abandoned. The same is true to other senses as well. Through the ears, nose, tongue, body, and the mind. Sounds cognizable by the ear, then smell cognizable by the nose, taste cognizable by the tongue, touch cognizable by the body, and mental phenomena cognizable by the mind. All this same. If there is no lust, no hatred, no delusion, no defilements to come out, no kilesa, no taints, no underlying tendencies to come out, no attachment to come out, no taints to come out, asava, taints. All taints gone. Finally, all taints gone. You are taintless, remainlessly. You have cut off all taints. You are free from all taints. That is the result of practicing Vipassana. Referring to the same simile, the Buddha says, Bhikkhus, suppose there was a milk sap tree, or let's take the maple tree, as it's quite familiar to you. If the tree is dried up, tree is now dried up tree, desiccated, it's desiccated now, past its prime, it's no more prime, no more tender, past its prime, gone. It's a dead tree, simply, it's a dead tree, now no sap. If a man breaks it here and there with a sharp axe, would sap come out? The Buddha said. The monk said, then, no, Venerable Sir. For what reason? Because there is no sap. No sap. No sap to come out. So too, bhikkhus, Buddha says, in regard to forms cognizable by the eye, ears, nose, tongue, body and the mind, even prominent forms, whatever, enters into range of the sense, they do not obsess the mind. Even the prominent, because there is nothing, there is no more lust, no more hate, no more delusion. Even though the prominent forms, whether it is form of forms, form of sounds, form of smell, form of taste, form of tangible, or form of mental phenomena, whichever comes, they never obsess the mind, because there is no lust, hatred and delusion. Not to speak of those that are trifling. For what reason? The Buddha questions. Because lust does not exist and has been abandoned. Hatred does not exist and has been abandoned. Delusion does not exist and has been abandoned. So that's the way to understand. That's the story. That is the discourse. So now, you to understand this little bit further. As humans, we have a developed mind to understand this Dhamma, to understand the nature of ourselves and the nature of the world. The world, according to the teachings of the Buddha, means the world within. World within. We are the world. You are the world. According to the teachings of the Buddha, Buddha has analyzed, dissected this so-called man or woman, then the Buddha understood here there are two things, mind and the matter. Mind and matter. Mind is the important thing. Mind is the forerunner, the Buddha said. Mind is chief. Mind is the chief. Mind-made. Things are mind-made. You to understand this mind. This body, only humans and animals have this body. There are other beings like hungry ghosts, deities, Brahmas. They have no such bodies, physicality like ours. This mind is the important thing. The Buddha's teaching is based on the mind, not this body. Because, as I said, this body, only humans and animals have this body. What you call this corporeality. This body. So the Buddha's teaching is not only for humans, it's for other beings as well. That's why even the Buddha is called Sattha Deva Manussana. He was the teacher of gods and humans. Gods and humans. In other faiths, they believe this person was created. They have to believe it. But according to the teachings of the Buddha, if we understand correctly, as the Buddha said, this person was not created. It is impossible. One day, a certain monk, one Venerable Kothita, went to meet Venerable Sariputta. Both of them were enlightened ones. Venerable Kothita asked questions because it is crystal clear that we are, as we were born, we have to face difficulties. We have to face decay and death. Decay and death. As people say that we were created, as we were created, still we have many kinds of diseases. We become decay, death, we have sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief and all these things. These are what you call dukkha. Unsatisfactory. Unsatisfactoriness is all over. That is why the Buddha understood this as a fact, as a truth. It is the truth in the world. Unsatisfactoriness. It is the common truth. It's the one truth for all beings. Which has the cause that can be seized, for which there is the path. The path is the middle path. So this Venerable Kottita, Mahakottita asks, friend Sariputta, how this decay and death comes to be? Whether this was created by oneself, created by another, created by both, created by or came to exist involuntarily, naturally, without any reason, without any cause? He asked. Then Venerable Sariputta said, friend, this decay and death was not created by oneself, not created by another, not created by both, not created involuntarily or automatically. This decay and death came to exist, came to be because of birth. Birth is the cause for decay and death. It's not the creation. Then he asks, then how come this birth? Venerable Sariputta, he asked the same question. He asked whether it was created by oneself, created by another, created by both, or came to exist involuntarily, automatically. Then he said, no, birth was not created by oneself, not created by another, not created by both, not came to exist automatically, but came to exist because of existence. Dependent on existence, birth comes to be. That is the meaning. Then how come this existence? The same questions, the same way he asked, how this existence come to be? Then Venerable Sariputta said, existence comes to be because of attachment. Then asked the same question, referring to attachment, how this attachment comes to be? He replied, attachment comes to be because of craving. Then how come this craving? Whether it was created by oneself, created by another, created by both, or came to exist automatically. Venerable Sariputta said, craving comes to be because of feeling. Then how comes this feeling? Feeling comes to be, Venerable Sariputta said, feeling comes to be because of contact. So how come this contact? How this contact arises? Contact comes to be, Venerable Sariputta says, contact comes to be because of 6 sense bases. Then how these 6 sense bases come to be, he asked. The answer was, this 6 sense bases comes to be because of mentality and physicality. Then he asked Bhante, friend Sariputta, how this six mentality and physicality comes to be. Venerable Sariputta said, this was not created by oneself, not created by another, not created by both. It does not come to be automatically. It comes to be because of a cause. What is the cause? How it came to be? He said, this mentality and physicality comes to be because of consciousness, vijnana, consciousness. Then how this consciousness came to be? That was the question. Whether it was created by oneself, created by another, created by both, or came to be involuntarily, automatically. Venerable Sariputta said, consciousness comes to be because of mentality and physicality. You see, because of mentality and physicality, consciousness come to be. Because of consciousness, mentality and physicality comes to be. It's a cycle. Now there is a circle. Mentality and physicality comes to be because of consciousness. Consciousness comes to be because of mentality and physicality. It's a cycle. This is what is called samsaric cycle. Samsaric cycle. Births and deaths takes place because of this cycle. All the time, mentality and physicality depend on consciousness. Consciousness depend on mentality and physicality. It's just like yin and yang. That is cycle. That is what is called samsaric cycle. This samsaric cycle is to be cut off by the practitioner, by the meditator. That is the task of the meditator. In order to cut this off, one has to develop one's mindfulness and insight. The Buddha, according to the Dhammapada, Buddha said, exert yourself to cut this off. Addressing the meditator, Buddha says, exert yourself, O holy man. Who's this holy man? You are the holy man. Holy woman. Cut off this stream of craving. Cut off this stream of craving. Exert. Make effort. Ardent. Practice ardently. That's the meaning. Cut off the stream of craving and discard sense desires. Discard sense desire. Whether it is lust, hatred, delusion. Discard this. Sense desire. Blended with lust, hatred and delusion. Knowing the destruction of all volitional formations, understand that you are cutting off all volitional formations. Know that and become, O holy man, become the knower of the uncreate. What is uncreate? Nibbana. Knower become the knower of the uncreate, knower of Nibbana. Realize Nibbana. In order to realize Nibbana, we have to cut off. We have to break this cycle. The one who breaks the hub of this cycle, this circle, is called Arahang. Ara means the hub. Han means cut, breaks. Who breaks the hub of this samsaric cycle is called Arahang. Become one of the Arahants. That is the admonition of our Buddha. Friends, let's all understand these wonderful teachings of the Buddha and practice this in our daily life whenever possible. Whether we are walking, working, sitting, standing, lying down, wherever we are, whatever we are doing, let's try to practice so that we can live happily, peacefully, light-heartedly, and experiencing this Dhamma, real bliss, real happiness of Nibbana. May we all realize this real peace, real happiness of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.